Generals die in bed. Chapter 9. Over the top. Back at the front. I find the battalion a few miles behind the reserve lines. They have just had a short rest. We are getting ready to move. There is intense excitement everywhere, and of course, innumerable rumors. We are going to the south of France, to a quiet front for a real rest. We are going north to Belgium. There is to be a terrific offensive. We are to be shock troops, and so on. The air is thick with these rumors. Latrine rumors, we call them. A batch of unused recruits have come up, which gives us reason to believe that we are not going out on rest. The recruits look with amazement at the feverish preparations. They get in our way, ask foolish questions, and make nuisances of themselves generally. The artillery roar up front swells as night falls. It is dark when the battalion is ready. We fall in outside of our billets and march out of the little deserted, shell-torn village. We march all night. 10 minutes rest every hour. The road is jammed with clanging artillery. There is a steady stream going our way. Yes, we are going into action, of that there can be no doubt. The rumors of an offensive these past months have not been idle ones. It is autumn. We are wearing our greatcoats, and the hours of marching leave us wet with sweat. We cease talking among ourselves. Breath is valuable. The packs tug at our shoulders. The accoutrements bang and clang against each other. Men begin to fall out of the ranks. The road becomes rougher. Shell holes everywhere. Gaps in the marching column grow wider. Clark runs up and down his company shouting orders. "Close up those goddamned gaps!" We run, painfully breaking the rhythm of the march. It is dark. Up ahead of us we see white lights shooting above the horizon. Very lights. We are getting nearer to the line. We pass through a charred, ruined village. Guns come to life on both sides of the road. Heavy artillery. From behind skeletons of houses, the mouths of the guns shoot tongues of red flame into the night. The detonations startle us with their suddenness. We march on. Renaud, an undersized French-Canadian recruit, marches by my side. He came up on the train with me when I returned from leave and has attached himself to me. He complains that he has a pain in his side. It is a miracle how he can stagger along under his load. I do not know how he ever passed the doctor. His knees sag. In the dark I see his pale face. It is twisted with pain. "It hurts me here," he says, patting his hand to his left side near the groin. "If it gets worse, fall out," I say. It is long after midnight. We have been marching for nearly 6 hours. We lie alongside the road for our 10-minute rest. Up ahead of us a bombardment is going on. A road is being shelled with overhead shrapnel. We see the red bursts in the air. We do not speak to each other. Renaud whimpers. "I cannot go on. I have a pain here." Clark passes us as we rest. "I will have to fall out, sir," the recruit says. Clark turns on him with a cold smile. "Cold feet, eh?" he says, and he walks on. It is time to fall in. Renaud cannot get to his feet. Clark walks over to him. "Fall in there, you," he orders. The recruit begins to cry. The company is drawn up, waiting. Renaud does not move. He lies by the edge of the road with his hand pressed to his side. Clark stands over the prostrate recruit. "Get up!" The recruit does not move. The officer takes him by the scruff of the neck and hauls him to his feet. "You yellow-livered little bastard, fall in!" Renaud hobbles to his place. We begin our march. All night long the guns blaze and storm. We sit in the damp dugouts and wait for the order to move forward. The recruits are frightened. They sit among themselves and talk in whispers. We have been told that we are going over the top in a few days. There are no fatigues. We wait and sleep. I am lying in a corner half asleep on a pile of sandbags. I feel someone tugging at my left breast pocket. I push the intruder away with a sleepy movement of my hand. I doze again. Once more he tugs. I wake up fully. It is a rat gnawing at my pocket in which I have some biscuits. I sit up and it retreats a little. I look at it and it bares its teeth. I reach for my rifle. It dashes into a hole. In the front line. It is midnight. We are to go over at 5. It is jet black. The enemy is nervous tonight. He keeps hammering at our line with heavy artillery. The rum comes up and our lieutenant rations it out. We stand in the trenches receiving last-minute orders. 0 hours, 5 o'clock sharp. We synchronize our watches. The hours drag. Suddenly our guns in the rear open up. The German line becomes alive with red shell bursts. The fury of our cannons grows wilder and wilder. Firework signals leap into the air behind the German trenches. The guns maul each other's lines. Machine guns sweep no man's land. We crouch in the corner of the bay, waiting. The bombardment swells and seethes. The air overhead whistles, drones, and shrieks. We are smashing their lines and batteries. The reply is weak. Their guns are nearly silenced. As far as one can see to the left and right, the night flickers with gun flashes. Renaud comes to my side. His face is white. He asks a question. When do we go over? His voice is trembling. I look at my watch. 10 minutes, I say. I am sorry for him. I ask him to stay with me during the attack. He moves closer to me. Fry, Broadbent, and Anderson are in the one bay with us. We prop the jumping-off ladder against the parapet. 5 minutes. The intensity of the bombardment seems to have reached its peak. The trench shivers with the force of the blasting. Fry comes to my side. He holds his hand out. So long, he says. I won't come out of this. Don't be crazy. Yes, I'm going to get it this time. His lips are stretched tight over his teeth. And I don't care either. I'm fed up. He holds the Lewis gun ready to throw it up over the parapet. Suddenly, no man's land becomes a curtain of fire. 1,000,000 shells seem to explode out there. Smoke curls heavenwards. The fierce flicker is blinding. Barrage! We are to advance behind the sheet of seething flame. I look at Renaud. His eyes are wide open. He keeps licking his parched lips. I shout a few last warnings into his ear. Don't run. Keep well behind the barrage. If you run into it, you'll be torn to pieces. Clark comes into the bay. He looks at his watch. He shouts something. We do not hear what he shouts, but we know it is the order to go over. We clamber up the ladder and out onto the field. All along the line, men are advancing with their rifles on guard. We walk slowly. The curtain of fire moves on methodically. Out of the smoke behind us, tanks crawl like huge beetles spitting fire. They pass us. From one of the holes, a hand waves to us. On and on. We walk behind the raging curtain of flame. The earth trembles and shakes as though it was tortured by an earthquake. Our steps are unsteady. We have advanced about 100 yards. There is no enemy fire. It is nearly dawn. A blue-gray light appears. Renaud walks by my side. His face is red with excitement now. To my left, Anderson and Fry walk together. We reach the German front line. It is pulverized. Legs and arms and gray rags lie here and there. The trenches are almost flattened. In the smoke murk, I step on something. It is soft. I look down. It is the ripped-open stomach of a German. We walk on. The shield of fire advances. Through the haze of smoke, we see a wood about 100 yards ahead of us. The barrage leaps upon it. Torn trunks of trees fly into the air. Large branches fall near us. We dodge them. We are in the wood. We advance cautiously for fear of snipers. There is a movement in one of the trees, which has remained standing. Broadbent raises his rifle to his shoulder and shoots into the shattered branches. A rifle drops, and then the man. He holds his shoulder from whence comes a thin trickle of blood. The rifle is fitted with telescopic sights. A sniper! Some of our boys rush to him and cover him with their rifles. The wounded sniper crawls on his knees towards us. He is middle-aged and has a gray walrus mustache, fatherly-looking. His hands are folded in the gesture which pleads for pity. "Drei Kinder! 3 children!" he shrieks. We are on top of him. Broadbent runs his bayonet into the kneeling one's throat. The body collapses. Some of us kick at the prostrate body as we pass it. It quivers a little with each kick. It begins to rain. It pours, sheets of it. Up in the sky we see flashes of lightning, but we cannot hear the thunder for the roar of the artillery. The earth is pulverized from the heavy bombardment, and this mixes with the rain, soon making a thin, half-liquid mud. It is ankle-deep. We flounder and slip and fall as we walk. The barrage lifts. We run through the mud slowly. It holds our boots. We slip and stagger. We are covered with mud. We can hear the thunder now. It is tame after the barrage. Machine guns hammer at us. Men begin to fall. Shells explode out in front, showering us with slime. We are held up. The field has become a sea of mud. Our light artillery is coming up behind us. The drivers are lashing at the horses. The mud is almost knee-deep. The wheels stick. The rain pours down upon us ceaselessly. Near to me, a driver dismounts and grabs hold of the reins and tries to pull his horses out of the mud. The beasts struggle and hold back. He strikes the animal nearest to him with the stock of his whip. He beats its face. Blood spurts from the animal's nose. It screams. The heavy steel guns sink lower into the mud. Each step is agony. The mud sucks us down, but we keep going nevertheless. Grenades land in the mud and do not explode. We are near the trenches. With a superhuman effort, we run towards them. We can see the enemy leaving his positions and fleeing to the rear. We slide out of the mud of the field into the half-water-filled trenches. We have gained our objective. We start to bail the water out of the trench. We repair the parapets. Our saturated clothes hang on us like leaden garments. I look at my watch. It is 6 o'clock. 1 hour to cross that field.